Hey, what is up? And welcome to Thursday's episode of our Mystic Road Trip. And it's Thursday, so that means, let's go up a little higher. There we go. That means that we're talking about tarot, and we are still in the Suit of Swords. So today's topic is going to be the Seven of Swords. Before we jump into that, let's talk a little bit about, this is our Mystic Road Trip, and it's basically kind of a concept where I'm on a Mystic Road Trip trying to learn new things and really dive deep into the stuff I already know, and learning new things to try to figure out where my path is, how I can get back in alignment with my authentic self. And one of the things that I love to do, and one of the things I am built to do according to my blueprint, which is what I call the birth chart, as well as my human design, is to learn things and share and teach. And so that is what I'm doing, and that's why this podcast came about, because I'm hoping that through my learning, through my deep dive, through my introspection and everything, I can not only help myself find my authentic path and self, but I can maybe help you guys too, you know? So that's kind of what I do. My name is Kim. By the way, my name is Kim, and I am an astrologer, a tarot reader, a spiritual wellness coach. I am also a holistic dietitian and a meditation guide, and I really find solace and comfort and peace in the world of spirituality, mysticism, and magic. And that is where I live, and that is what I want to share with you guys. So hopefully you guys are into that too. Then if that sounds cool, you found the right place. Sorry if my throat's a little scratchy. I've started doing these new things, and my body is detoxing itself. I started doing lymphatic drainage exercises, and I didn't realize one of the things I learned, and by the way, this has nothing to do with the topic, and maybe we'll do an episode on this anyways, but there are some people that when they start doing lymphatic draining things and everything, that first couple of days they feel gets flu-like symptoms because your body is detoxing. So there's a free piece of information for you. So if I sound a little stuffy, I'm not really sick, it's just I'm getting better. It sounds weird, but it's true. Anyways, on Thursday's episodes I talk about tarot, on Mondays I talk about magic, so if I do one on that, that'll be over there. I think that's it for like the introduction and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about shameless plugging and housekeeping. I think that if you want to reach out to me, there's ways to do it. I have Instagram, I have TikTok, I have Facebook. You can message me all there. If you're someone who doesn't rock the social medias, I completely understand. That's why I have an email down there, because I do know there's people that have detached from that, which probably is pretty healthy. I haven't yet gotten to that wage, and if I'm honest with you, I don't think I will. It's just too fun to scroll at 3 o'clock in the morning and see cat videos. I know that sounds totally cliche, but it's what happens. If you would like to support the podcast, if you would just like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, do all those things, anything engagement with my video or audio helps the algorithm know that people are interested and I'm not just talking into the void. So that would be amazing. If you do have a little cash and you want to kick it my way, check out my Patreon and my Buy Me a Coffee. There you can purchase services from me, or you can just donate, depending on you. I do tarot reads, astrology. Coming soon there'll be some life coaching and stuff. I have to get all that up, but you'll be able to purchase my services there. So if you have cash and you want to kick it my way, that would be the best way. If you want more on this topic and so much more, make sure you check out my Medium publication. I am a writer by trade, so of course I have that. And if you're into women, feminism, history, all that kind of stuff, checking out some badass ladies through history, you might want to check out my other podcast, which is called Where All the Ladies At. I think that's it for the shameless plugging and housekeeping. So now we can jump into the Seven of Swords. Now, we all know swords is, let me get my notes here. Guys, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't remember everything. And I want to make sure I give you everything I've learned. Because, so just so you guys know, like, maybe this is your first time here, and I don't know why I feel like I need to say it, but I'm just starting to learn to go with my inclination when it comes to communication. I have a Sagittarius Mercury, so I'm just going to say whatever the fuck I want to say. I've been doing tarot since I was 12. My mom did tarot. There were people around me that would always do tarot. So I know a lot about it. But as I get older, and I do it for a living, so obviously clearly I'm well versed at it. But I always think, no matter how, I think the idea of being a master is a little overrated. I don't think you can ever really master something. I think you should always be learning, right? There's always new interpretations, there's always new ideas, there's always this. So where some might say, oh, you've been doing it since you were 12, you're a master, you do it for a living, I say there's still things for me to learn. So that's why I'm taking card by card and diving deeper into it, and I am learning a lot more stuff, right? For instance, numerology is something new to me. I'm starting to look at crystals and herbs and things like that are associated with it. So I don't think anybody can master something. That's my opinion, and I'd love to hear what you guys think, but I don't think you can master something. You could be well versed and you could be an expert, but you can never master something because there's always something new to learn, right? Astrology is a great example as well. I'm into astrology, but I know Western astrology. I have no idea about Eastern astrology, about Vedic astrology. I don't have any, I'm learning about it, but I don't have any idea. I know Western astrology, and even with Western astrology, there was things that I didn't know. So I don't know why I decided to go on this rant, but it just kind of felt right. So I just want you guys to know, even though I do tarot, and I think I'm pretty good at it. I get lots of compliments. There's still room for me to learn. There's still room for me to learn, and so yeah. Anyways. That was a little rant for you. Now we can really jump into the Seven of Swords. What the heck? I don't know. It just came into my mind and I wanted to say it. So I did. That's what I say. Alright, so we're going to spotlight Seven of Swords today, right? This is a card for tricksters, quiet strategists, right? Shadow side, truth bombs. Everything's going to come with this card, right? It's very often misunderstood as being only negative. But like any shadow card, there's power hidden within its messages, right? And I think that's what everybody needs to understand. A lot of tarot readers, new tarot readers, when they read through the book and they start to learn about it, there's certain cards that they see as negative, and this is one of them, you know. But the truth is that, like everything spiritually, there's good and bad for everything, right? And even if it has negative connotations, there's a lesson to be learned. And that's where you have to focus, right? So when you first look at this, it's a pretty cinematic image, right? And by the way, just as a PSA, when I'm talking about images, I'm talking about the traditional images. I certainly know there's 50,000 million different decks now. And when I'm talking about reading it, I'm talking about reading in a traditional way in regards to reverse. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that that's out there. So when you first look at this card, right, it's this like lone figure tiptoeing away from like this military camp, right? They're holding swords, and there's swords like all like strewn on the ground, right? And planted in it. And this is like someone is stealing away with some secrets. The figure isn't running, so they're kind of sneaking, right? And it's intentional. It's not necessarily, and they're not necessarily proud if you look at their image, right? They look backwards. That's the moment right after you told a lie and you're like, ooh, I think someone heard me, right? It's kind of like body language. And so it really speaks a lot about fear and guilt, you know? And because swords is, as we've talked about, something having to do with the mental space, this is like thoughts and logic and words and communication. So this is not a physical theft, right? And yeah, it could be, but mostly it's mental, right? It's mental or energetic. Someone is making off with ideas, a truth, a clarity, something is happening, right? It's like evasion or strategy, right? It's not direct confrontation. It's a card of doing what you feel you have to do, even if it's not what you want to admit you're doing, right? So the two swords left behind, that's not a mistake, right? That's symbolic. That's a way of representing the truth you're unwilling to carry, right? The facts are that you're avoiding, there's facts you're avoiding, basically, right? Because they'd cost you something. It could be, they could be your integrity. You could abandon temporary, like to get ahead. Like the card really asks you to pause and consider what you're leaving behind in pursuit of your current mental strategy, right? And you need to figure out if that cost is too high, right? So that's kind of the symbology and the meaning. It's saying, hey, you know what? Like, look, I had this discussion with someone the other day, and I asked if there is truly any human that could be truly 100% honest all the time. And I think so. I think kids can be pretty honest, but I think we're taught to kind of like lie for certain reasons, or whether it's lie to make somebody feel like not to hurt somebody, or whether it's lie to get ahead in something. Like, it's kind of a common thing that happens. I'm not saying everybody does that. By no means is that what I'm saying. I just think it's a common human attribute. And so this card is saying you're doing that, but is it the right thing? Like, what is happening, right? And so that's kind of the traditional reading. Now, when I read this card, sometimes it comes to me like you've picked up all this mental weight from other people, and you're kind of separated from there, like you're turning back, right? That's my interpretation, but the traditional one is the one we just talked about, right? By knowing that, I can actually elevate my reading and kind of look at the symbology in a different way. Not to say it's going to change how I read the card, because really cards are read per the person. I'm an intuitive reader. I'm not like a by the book reader, by no stretch of the imagination. So a lot of the times the cards say things to me that not necessarily do the cards mean, but there's symbology there, okay? I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I may be rambling a little bit, but that's what's going to happen. All right, so now we've looked at the symbology. I want to jump into numerology, because here's the thing. Once again, this is one of those areas that I'm just starting to really learn a lot about, and it's really quite interesting to me. So this card is obviously the 7, right? And the 7 is a seeker. It's the searcher. The soul that doesn't settle for surface level answers. It's a pause in the journey, right? So every suit is a hero's journey. If you watched my Monday's episode, go check it out. Every suit in the major arcana are all basically can be tied to the hero's journey, right? So this is the pause. It's inward, you turning inward, right? It's why am I doing this? What's really going on here? And the energy applied to that mental realm creates a powerful combination, right? It's a card that forces introspection and intellectual honesty, right? Whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter if you're ready. 7 is like kind of like the spiritual detective. It talks about probing and asking questions and unearthing truths, right? So when this shows up, it's really talking about urging you to protect yourself mentally, even if it means kind of bending the truth and hiding your thoughts, right? Detaching from others. So you see, even right there, right? The difference between the traditional meaning of the symbology and the numerology. Now you can play with that, right? This is what I'm talking about. This is what I get excited about, because I didn't know numerology, right? And yet still how I read it was more how numerology sees it than the actual symbology of the traditional reading, right? So it's very interesting to me, right? It's the thing is with the 7, you think, oh, they're lying, they're bending the truth. That's evil. It's not always malicious. It sometimes is just survival, things you have to do to get to the next thing, right? If we're thinking about the hero's journey, which I think I'm really digging this analogy. A good example with this would be like Odysseus, right? I'm stuck on Odysseus because I love Epic the musical. So if you've listened to my podcast, you'll hear me talk about this a lot, right? There were things he did to get the things he wanted, right? So he lied to the Cyclops, right? And in order to get free, right? That's still a lie, and the Cyclops still got, injured, right? But and hurt, right? But he didn't kill him. And so it's all these things, right? Sometimes you feel, it's not necessarily the truth, but you feel like the best option in order to survive is to kind of bend the truth a little bit. But on the flip side, 7 is relentless, right? It really wants to get to the heart of matters. So even with this card appears as a strategy or a coping mechanism, it's a red flag. It's not sustainable. You can't do this continually. If you continue to do it, it's going to be bad. And the real kicker is that while it may be a point of lying or deceit, it's more often about self-deception. It's not so much what you're saying to other people, it's what you're saying to yourself, right? I'm doing this because that, right? No, you're doing it out of selfishness. You need something, or you want something, or you don't want to be not liked, or something like that. And maybe in the moment that's necessary. I am not giving anybody any shade, right? Because we've all been there at some point, right? The point is you are deceiving yourself about why you're choosing to do these things the way it is, right? Are you telling your story so you can avoid discomfort, right? Are you mentally maneuvering around something instead of moving through it, right? You don't want to deal with something, so now you're going to take your ball and you're going to go around, right? You know, this card doesn't only call out dishonesty, right? It's calling out the energy and the mental gymnastics you have to do this, right? And in that sense, the Seven of Swords becomes more of a spiritual wake-up call, right? It's saying face the narrative, right? You've created this narrative, face it, and challenge yourself to rewrite it, and rewrite it with more integrity. Even if that truth is inconvenient and uncomfortable, in the end, it's going to be worth it. And that's kind of what this is what 7 is saying with this card, right? It's beautiful. Honestly, numerology is super, super fascinating to me. All right, so now we know the traditional symbology. We know about the numerology. Let's talk about how to read it. And I'm going to repeat myself because I read things differently too. I know that some readers don't read reverse at all. I know some people read it as the traditional, which is more of the opposite. I read it most of the time. Occasionally it'll come up, but most of the time I read it as slower moving energy, because I believe that the universe has, whenever I do a read, I believe the universe has all of that waiting for you, whether it's challenges or victories. Sometimes there's things that block it, and you have to open the key in order for that energy to move quicker. And that's how I see the reverses. Very rarely do I get the feeling, and once again, remember, I'm an intuitive reader, so very rarely do I get the feeling that it's like the opposite of what the upright means. Very rarely. Occasionally, right? But I absolutely do read reverse, and I know there are some that don't. So let's talk about how to read it. So upright, we've talked about it, right? It's Seven of Swords is masterclass in 3 steps ahead, right? It's cleverness, strategy in motion, and the moment you choose to protect your peace, and that might mean slipping out the back door. You know, it might mean doing something a little that you might feel is kind of wrong, but it's not always about wrongdoing, guys. It's sometimes about necessary stealth, right? Sometimes, you know, like, you know, avoiding someone because you're not really ready to face the truth, or avoiding a situation because you're not really, right? Maybe you're quietly planning to exit a toxic situation. Those are good things, but they're still stealthy, and they're a little underhanded sometimes, right? I want you guys to make no mistake though, right? Here's the thing. The card always comes as a yellow flag. It honors, you know, it does honor mental agility and creative problem solving, but it really talks about cleverness can actually slip into manipulation very easily if you're not very grounded, or you're not self-aware of you're doing it, right? Are you protecting yourself to avoid responsibility? Are you being smart, or are you being shady, right? There's a difference, and there's a fine line, and it may depend on the other cards in the spread on which one is what's happening, right? On the other hand, reversed, right, the vibe shifts, right, in traditional ways. The mask slips, the jig might be up, what was hidden is now illuminated, right? The reverse of Seven of Swords is when the truth spills out, right? Something's sometimes awkwardly, sometimes forcefully. The strategy you thought might be airtight is definitely not. The reversal can bring like a powerful moment of clarity where self-deception, denial, and all that stuff kind of collapse. The card reverse often invites kind of like a reckoning, you know, less punishment and more like time to deal with what you've been avoiding. So almost like a timeout kind of situation. You cannot sneak past your own shadow forever, right? You can't dodge it. It's there. It's not going anywhere. It's tied to you, right? And if you've been the one misled, the reversal often brings like information, insight. So if you're in a situation where somebody else has been like that, it might mean that, hey, some stuff is going to come to light that really shows you how what everything is in very plain sight, right? And that's how you would read it. Going deeper into it, I like to look at, and here's the thing, guys, this is what I was saying, like, I really enjoy learning new things and really diving deeper, because tarot is there's so much in tarot, right? The artist that did the originals, and the concepts behind it mixed a bunch of stuff in together, and so you have astrology, and you have this, and you have that, everything mixed in together. So really learning all these practices can help you be a better tarot reader, can help you understand these cards more. And whether you're doing the read for yourself or a querent, it doesn't matter. It is more about like understanding the energies and the vibe, right? So obviously it's swords, so it's the element of air. We've been talking about this the whole time. Air is about mental energy and communication and intellect and everything that lives up in the head, right? It's fast moving, it's strategic, and sometimes the air element can be a little detached, right? Some might call it flighty. This card isn't about feelings, it's about thinking, right? Planning, scheming, overthinking, point of mental isolation, all that kind of thing, right? Astrologically, it's going to be tied to an air sign, right? Very rarely is a card tied to a sign that's not attached to the element. It happens occasionally, but not really that much. This particular card is assigned to Aquarius, right? Because they are kind of like the visionary rogue. They are sharp and unconventional and very independent, and that kind of adds a whole new layer to the Seven of Swords, right? This isn't just about deception, it's about operating outside the norm, right? So sometimes that can be like, Aquariuses do not play by traditional rules if they are in true alignment, and that's perfect for this card, right? It's the rebel thinker, the radical strategist, a person who says, if the system is broken, I'm going to beat it on my own terms, kind of thing, right? But then if we turn around and we're looking, you'd think that this card would be ruled by Mercury, right? Communication makes sense, right? But this card's planetary ruler is actually the moon, right? And in this case, it's focusing more on the moon's domain over like intuition over intellect, right? Emotion over logic, right? The pairing, it means that this equates to a very dreamy, secretive energy. And because, as once again, moon governs illusions and cycles and instincts and what's hidden in the subconscious, there is a reason why this card is attached to that planet, right? And well, first of all, also let me know, I know a lot of people, you know, if you're listening to this or watching this, you probably know, but I just want to make sure, in astrology, the moon is a planet. I know it's not a planet. I'm pretty smart, but in astrology, it is a planet. All right, so the lunar influence over this, going back to the, gives this card its shadowy edge, right? It's why you're doing it, not what you're doing, right? So there's always something deeper going on, right? An emotional undercurrent, a psychic nudge, hidden fear, whatever it is. So that's why the moon is attached to this card. If we're looking even more into correspondences, you know, I like to go into these things. We're going to look, if you're looking for crystals that go with this card, maybe you pulled a card and you're trying to work with the energies, or you're trying to whatever, Amazonite and lapis lazuli are really great. They're truth serum stones. Amazonite is really known for soothing your nervous system and can crack open that throat chakra, which is what you need. And that means it's going to bring like honest self-expression, and even if it's a little messy, and that's okay. Messy's okay sometimes. Sometimes you have to get messy, right? Lapis lazuli, on the other hand, is it's meant, it can cut through illusions. It helps you speak your truth and hear the truth behind others' words. So those are why I would say those are two great crystals to use with this. Herb-wise, I really just focused on mugwort. Mugwort is like it's been a witchy herb for centuries, right? It's meant to open up your third eye, reveal subconscious truths as well, and also enhances lucid dreaming. In this case, tying it to this, it can help navigate those shadowy thoughts, right? And help you see through the fog of self-deception. You can use in teas, do a smoke cleanse with it, or dream pillows to kind of invite clarity. Anything where you use that. Yeah, I think mugwort's a really great one. Energy-wise, when we're talking about the gods or goddesses, once again, I always say I choose a goddess that really resonates to me, and even if they don't belong in my my tradition, right? I follow the Celtic tradition, so. But sometimes knowing mythology and all that kind of stuff, there's other goddesses that really like shine through this. And for this instance, I put Hecate. She's like the queen of crossroads and shadows. So this is like very much the perfect archetype. She can help guide you through thresholds and whispering secrets. She just, and you know, all that kind of stuff. She doesn't really deal in black and white morality. She kind of reminds you decisions made in the dark still kind of shape your path. She's not here to scold. She's here to hand you the lantern, right? So she really does live sometimes a lot in that gray area, right? And it's true. Decisions you make in the light still affect the dark, and decisions you make in the dark still affect the light. So it's a cyclical thing, and everything is interconnected. Color-wise, I would say deep indigo or midnight blue, right? These are kind of colors of hidden truths and intuition, often used. These colors can help you sit with uncertainty, you know, lean into your wisdom, do all that stuff. You could wear it, you could get a candle and focus on it, like all these things. There's a lot of ways to use color, right? All right, so last but not least, we're going to go into the Seven of Swords and how to use it in daily mindfulness, right? The Seven of Swords, with everything we just said, is not here to scold you. It's here to kind of make you really take a deep look and ask yourself, are you sure that the reason you're doing that is the reason you're telling yourself, right? It's an accountability buddy in some aspects, right? And the card makes you become a little bit more detective of your inner world, right? So I would say you could do things like daily reflections, you know, self-honesty, boundaries, strategy check, right? Is this move serving my long-term goals or just helping me survive for today? Asking yourself questions like that is really important, and then journaling on them, right? Maybe like a good mindfulness prompt would be like, what truth am I trying to sneak past, and what would change if I turned to face it? I think that's a great one. Very hard, and I hope if you do that one, you're gonna have to be very, very honest with yourself. You can do the truth check-in, 10 minutes of breath work, and then journal your response to, you know, where your gaze goes first, right? So if you pull a card, this is what I always say people when you're reading, when you pull a card, this symbology that your eyes are drawn to first is the most impactful. All these symbology will be important, but the thing that you're drawn to first, that's the thing you should really journal on first. I really think that's the truth, right? And I think just doing a little writing down of like your game plan, right? The Seven of Swords is not about demanding you to fix everything. It just wants you to see things clearly, and because when you can see things clearly and you can see your ideas behind it and why you're making these movements, you can really start to understand who you are and work on, I never say fixing your shadow. I would say more integrating your shadow. You have to face your shadow and see what's going on in order to fix it, right? In order to integrate it, right? It's really just, look, what's the truth? Why are you doing this, right? If I made a choice, look, I'll do a simple thing, right? So if tonight I came home and I'm like starving and I'm on a diet and I'm trying to become healthy and I'm not really hungry, but I still order McDonald's, and this is a really trivial example, that is sabotaging myself, right? So how do I look at that and ask myself, why am I doing it? why am I choosing instead of having a couple of the healthier snacks I have at home, of ordering that Big Mac? There's a reason. Whether it's I feel I need comfort, whether it's feeling that I'm not worthy to be who I'm trying to be, all these things I have to ask myself. And truth, you can ask yourself about any decision that. And the Seven of Swords is just saying, why are you choosing to do this that way, right? It's not saying don't do it. I could still order the Big Mac, but it's saying know why you're doing it, so the next time those feelings come up, maybe you don't order the Big Mac. Right? Maybe the next time those feelings come up, you don't lie to your partner. Maybe the next time those feelings come up, you don't, take the short way around to get work done, right? So it's just saying know your reason, right? I hope that helped. I hope you enjoyed. I felt pretty good about this episode. I know I ranted a little bit. Sorry, I get into that. I'm really just trying to really work with my flow. Once again, I have a Sagittarius Mercury, and in human design, my throat center is pretty important. So just trying to really work with that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. You're going to get 2 episodes this week. This is the first one. This is Seven of Swords. You will also get the 8 of Swords, so, because I was lazy last week. Anyways, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Remember, if you want to reach out to me, you can most definitely do that. There's ways to do it. If you want to support the podcast, like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you want to kick some cash my way, cool. Buy me a coffee and Patreon are in there. And if you want more of this and so much more, check out my Medium publication. And if you're into history, feminism, and some badass ladies, check out my other podcast. It's called Where All the Ladies At. That's it for today, guys. That's not for today. That's not it for today. You're gonna get one more. But that's it for this episode. As always, guys, stay curious, stay blessed, stay safe.